think about it, I don't seem to remember much about underground caves in the Bible. Not even in that new Bible they rewrote in 2040, with that big chase scene and that weird cameo by Ben Stiller.
I've been exploring down here and I found some really crazy stuff. Look!
Why, that fort looks like a blue base.
So, when I did my very first Great Prophecy video, I got to the part of the Holy Valley and I completely forgot to mention the fact that there were alien temples in the caves below Blood Gulch, thus being the reason why Blood Gulch was the Holy Valley. In the second iteration of the prophecy, Blood Gulch is still the Holy Valley, but for a different reason. At the end of Season 8, Tex has been fighting Wash and Meta, and found herself captured in the AI capture unit. Once the Reds and Tucker finally defeat the Meta and forgiven Wash, Epsilon decides to risk it and jump into the capture unit. And the one place he knows he can find her is the memory of Alpha's old base, Blood Gulch. For that reason, Red vs. Blue, Season 9 and Season 10 are the Holy Valley of the Great Journey.
Call me crazy, but I'm the best. Nothing more, nothing less. Talking shit, it's what I do. And back it up without a clue.
There are two miniseries, MIA and Where There's a Will, There's a Wall, as well as 2 episodes of Season 14's anthology that shows some of the iterations he had to go through to find Tex in Season 9. The episodes being called Room Zero and Get Bent. Also, I think it's funny how at the end of Season 8 he's talking about if he's going to live in a memory for the rest of his life, it may as well be a good one. And then Season 9's intro, it shows a very similar image of him running into Blood Gulch while he's complaining and bitching about how he hates this place.
Hey, Church, help me out! I don't know what the fuck I'm doing!
Basically overlapping those moments with contradicting thoughts. Once inside, Church sees things differently than before. For more than just for the fact that he makes decisions this time that are different than before, specifically just to find Tex, changing the timeline of the original memories, but because most of the story Epsilon knew was told to him by Caboose, so some things aren't as they should be.
Hoorah, bitches! Who fucking rah! No, you are not walking across my floor with those boots. I just mopped it.
It also puts him on a time crunch, because the whole time he's in the unit, they keep experiencing tremors, like the world is falling apart, leading him to think it's because of the unit slowly dying in the snow from its damages. Church describes the process of finding Tex in the memory unit as recursion. When a computer tries to find the solution to a problem and fails, it passes what it knows to the next iteration, and when it finally finds the solution, it sends that information back to the top and it has its final solution. Meaning that once he fails finding Tex, the next iteration he uses that information to try again until eventually he succeeds. Theoretically. In my Great Prophecy episode, I suggested that the prophecy seems to play out in this exact way, and this is where they explain that, just very subtly. I also like to mention the fact that Church being in Blood Gulch and constantly redoing the events of Blood Gulch to save Tex, interestingly enough, mirrors when Wyoming was doing that in Season 5, because both events took place in Blood Gulch, and both events, I've said, are the Holy Valley part of the prophecy. The other half of the season shows us flashback episodes of the good old days of Project Freelancer. I find it interesting that the season about being in a memory unit starts showing us the past of Project Freelancer, starting with a recon mission to the Bjorndal cryo facility where the engineer was originally stored. Here, we're introduced to a new character helping the twins, Agent Carolina.
Okay, my turn.
She's revealed to be the best freelancer until Agent Tex arrives, and she starts to try to compete with her to truly see who's the best. She's revealed to be the captain of the team and leads the heist to steal the engineer from Charon, the security team led by the monster of the Great Burning Plains, or CT, or the leader. How does he not have a real name yet? Agent Carolina was actually briefly mentioned in Season 5 and Season 6. Season 5 when Tex shows back up to Blood Gulch and reveals that she was working with Agent York to try to stop Agent Wyoming. And then in Season 6 when Church is talking to Delta as they're going into the windmill to stop the Meta. Overall, Epsilon finds Tex because his team thought he was dead like the original Church.
Ow! The fucking hurt!
So they called Command and had her sent to help. Which makes me wonder why Command sent her in the real world if she was a fugitive of Project Freelancer by the time of Blood Gulch. I originally thought it was because of the glitches Vic got in Season 14 when Flowers tripped on his cable that was plugged into the wall, but the fan guide actually does explain this. It says that when she has the chance to save Alpha after the ship crashed on Sidewinder, she left him because she didn't want to remove him from a place he felt comfortable or safe. So after Caboose killed his body, they sent Tex to the coordinates of Alpha to keep him safe in the canyon because she wouldn't want to remove him if he's vulnerable. Although it could very well be both. Now that Church isn't dead in this iteration, he lies about a soldier named Andersmith who had been killed instead of him to keep her around. So after screwing around for a while and killing Lopez, who is in the disguise of Simmons,
Andersmith, I kept my promise. You have been avenged.
Tex reveals that she knows why Epsilon's here. She knows what he knows because she is his memories. She is the memory of his wife, and she's from his mind. As they begin to discuss the past and the possibility of the unit dying before he can save Tex, leading to the Red shenanigans of trying to fight the planet, and the return of Andy the Bomb. He finally realizes what he has to do. This whole time he thought he was now the hero in this iteration of Blood Gulch, and he was supposed to find Tex, the key to his memories, and to his past.
Don't you get it? You were the memory. You were the key.
But the truth is, the only way he can move forward with his journey is to forget her.
I forget you. I'm letting you go.
Suddenly the sky opens and the Epsilon Reds and Church see a giant caboose in the sky. Church now realizes that it's a rescue mission and Caboose has now destroyed the simulated world. The Great Destroyer has destroyed the world that the key was in. Once out of the memory unit, Epsilon finds out that Wash led the Reds and Blues on a rescue mission to save him, but he doesn't know why. Until Caboose says the new lady told them how to get him out.
New lady?
Hey there, Alpha. Been looking for you for a long time.
It reveals that Agent Carolina has met the Reds and Blues because she needs Epsilon. She now wishes to find the director and kill him. Season 10 picks up here, and Agent Carolina takes the Reds and Blues to all the old places they've fought in the past, the windmill where she explains that Sigma was her AI, she blames herself for what happened to Agent Main, the desert where she explains what happened to Agent CT and how her armor ended up with the leader of the security force. She even finds the data pad that had the information the leader was looking for involving the orb, which the Reds and Blues reveal they broke and left on the floor of the offsite storage facility. Later, she even goes by herself to the island where Agent York died. We find out her and York had some sort of romantic relationship, and all the while the Reds and Blues find it hard to trust her through her angry threats and bossy tone. So when she decides to go to the island, Epsilon gets put into an ATV to spy on her. But as she reminisces about her past, talking to York as if he was still there, Epsilon reveals himself by accident, and they both get to know each other better. Once she returns to the desert to pick up the Reds and Blues, she now has Epsilon as her AI. To me, this is the completion of Wash's part of the trial. For now. Wash, the Great Retriever, has reunited the Junior with the Key. Or rather, the twin, not the Junior. How does that make sense? Well, think about Carolina's role in the show. Carolina originally had Sigma as her AI, and she gave him up to Main. After that, she was given two AI, Ada and Iota. She thought in the past that she couldn't beat Tex because she wasn't good enough. But Sigma and Gamma told her that Tex had Omega, the strongest AI there was. So to match it, she took two AI that would have equaled the power of the strong AI. Both Ada and Iota mirror her movements and merge with each other to work together. The day that the rogue freelancers break into the ship to save Alpha from being tortured, and the ship ultimately crashes on Sidewinder, Agent Main becomes fully possessed by Sigma and steals Carolina's AI and throws her off a cliff, leading people to think that she was dead. However, in one of my recent viewings, I just barely noticed that she had her grappling hook in her hand right before the scene cut. After that, Alpha was given to Agent Florida, who was promoted to captain and was given captain armor, like Carolina had. And then, as I've said before, Tucker steals his armor after he dies and essentially ends up with the Alpha. Florida is the link between Tucker and Carolina. That's not all my evidence, though. See, once Carolina and Epsilon start working together and join back up with the Reds and Blues, and Wash, they move to the Valhalla base to look for clues, while Tucker questions Church as to why he's trusting Carolina.
Church, just because you want to get close to someone doesn't mean you have to end up inside them. Oh, come on. Aren't you gonna say it?
No, because I'm pissed off.
All right. Look, guys, I'm still on your side, okay? But if Carolina is hiding something, I'm gonna have to stay close to her in order to find it. See? Proximity is the key.
I thought memory was the key.
Oh, yeah, and the sword. Sword is key, too.
Caboose, shut up!
Where they find Tex's dog tags, there was secretly a flash drive given to Tex by CT before she died. It tells Tex once and for all that she was an AI, the memory of the director's dead wife. They also find Donut alive, saved by Doc, and both made Lopez into a scarecrow, but that's just a perk. Church enters the flash drive and suddenly remembers everything. This leads him and Carolina to the off-site storage facility from before. They believe that's where the director is now, and after the Reds and Blues refuse to keep going because they are tired of Carolina's bullshit and Wash defends them, Carolina and Epsilon leave without them.
I don't know what's gotten into you, Carolina. You better figure out the difference between your enemies and your friends.
Once in the facility, they're surprised at the lack of security. Until Epsilon and Carolina encounter... I've never heard this mentioned, but because they said they left the orb there and now the director's there, and this room used to be full of church clones, I believe the director used the orb to do what Epsilon did to remove Tex from his mind.
I couldn't get you out of my head, so I kind of had to get you out of my head.
Using the orb, put the memory of her into the robot body that was in that coffin in the off-site storage facility. The director used the orb to remove the memory of Tex from all the church clones and made them into the Tex drones. Carolina uses Epsilon to power up and attack all the Texes, and after kicking Sirius' ass, she's eventually overwhelmed and fails. As she declares defeat, the Reds and Blues show up, Donut included,
9 points, you dirty whores!
and helps Carolina and Epsilon fight the Tex drones.
Roses are red and violets are blue.
Bruce, I need you to get a little angry, okay, buddy?
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember how to do that.
I do.
My name is Michael J. Caboose. Attack!
Ultimately, they realize the only way they can defeat them is for Epsilon to do what he learned in the memory unit, the Holy Valley, and what he did to the Meta to defeat him in Season 6, and get closure with all the Texes. Once they agree to rest, he deletes them all and they shut down. This is why they don't recognize him when he comes in. Tex says, "Who are you?" It's because they're new memories of Tex from all the church clones. They haven't been filled in on all the events of the series like the other Tex was the first time they brought her back. Now the director has failed trying to use Tex just like Omega and the Meta. Since both were part of the darkness in the prophecy, and they were essentially extensions of the director, it's revealed the director is the original darkness. He's behind everything that happened in the first iteration of the prophecy and the second. He can't live without Tex, his love, his wife. And Carolina and Epsilon finally go to confront him as he watches his last memories of Allison, the original Tex, before she goes off to war. In these moments, we learn that the director is actually Carolina's father and Tex her mother. So think about it. The director is what Alpha was based off of. Alpha is the hero of the second iteration of the prophecy. Epsilon was the memory Wash had to reunite with him, the key to stopping the director. Technically, Alpha is part of Carolina's father, and if he couldn't succeed as the hero, she could finish it for him. Wash ultimately reunited her with Epsilon, and she defeated the director by convincing him to let go. Alpha and Tucker, both iterations of the hero. Junior and Carolina are both iterations of the twin. The Sword and Epsilon are both iterations of the Great Key. Ada and Iota represent what Carolina becomes for the prophecy. They copy each other as Church and Carolina were meant to fulfill the same purpose. If one couldn't, then the other would. Just like Tucker and Junior were supposed to copy each other. And yes, the alien thought he was the hero, so he created Junior to finish what he couldn't, but Tucker was the real hero in that situation. It is kind of symbolic that Caboose is the one to use Epsilon to try to revive Alpha in a very similar way that the alien tried to create a copy of himself through Tucker making Junior. Both Caboose and the alien being two different versions of the Great Destroyer. Another reason why Carolina would probably go by the twin instead of the Junior is because technically Junior would go by the same title that Carolina would, and Junior's just his name. It's not like Tucker is the Tucker of the prophecy. Junior would be a twin, Carolina would be a twin, and in Season 12, Church just kind of calls Ada and Iota the twins. Carolina leaves him her pistol, and as she and Epsilon leave the director to his fate, he takes his life.
Don't say goodbye. I hate goodbyes.
After it's all finished, Carolina asks what they do next, and Church says he knows one last place they can make a home. And we see them in a canyon, hinting it to be Blood Gulch. So at this point, we know the director, the original Darkness, has been destroyed. Carolina fulfilled the role Junior was supposed to in the first iteration, Wash is the Retriever, Caboose is the Destroyer, Epsilon is the Great Key, Season 6 was the Windmill, 7 was the Burning Plains, 8 was the Swamp and the Freezing Plains, 9 and 10 together with a Holy Valley, and the Retriever reuniting the twin of the hero with the key. It seems the prophecy's complete, right? There are a few questions left unanswered. Why was this the alien prophecy if it was about the freelancers? What about the sword Tucker has? If Caboose is the Great Destroyer, why doesn't he end up with the key? And where the hell does that ship in the original ice base actually go? I guess that's why the canyon they were seen in at the end of Season 10 isn't Blood Gulch, but the planet Chorus. I believe all those questions are finally answered in the Chorus trilogy starting in Season 11.